Boom. The Senate hearing room exploded. The second Jasmine Crockett opener mouth one sentence. One ice-cold razor-sharp career-ending sentence, and Tim Scott his smug grin gone. In its place, a face redder than a mag's hat at Trump rally camera zoomed in, phones flashed, Twitter crashed, and America just witnessed the most savage takedown in political history. But let's rewind. Let's go back to the exact moment it all went nuclear. The room was electric C-SPAN. Cameras rolling, reporters scribbling, staffers sweating, the air thick with tension like the night before a title fight up on the panel. Senator Tim Scott, South Carolina's golden boy, the only black Republican in the Senate. The guy Fox News calls the future of the party, the man who smiles like he's selling toothpaste but talks like he's Moses parting the Red Sea. He leaned into his mic. That condescending chuckle already bubbling up Representative Crockett. He began, voice dripping with fake sweetness. I see you went to law school. That's nice, but I have to wonder, did they actually teach you the Constitution? Or were you too busy with other priorities? Gasped the gallery, froze a conservative staffer in the back, dropped his phone. A Democratic aide choked on her coffee. Tim Scott. He just grinned wider. He thought he just knocked her out. Cold classic Tim, polished, calculated, devastating. But across from him, Jasmine Crockett didn't flinch. Not one muscle, her burgundy blazer crisp. Her natural hair and elegant twist flawless. Her eyes locked on Scott like a sniper scope. She adjusted the mic slow, deliberate like a surgeon picking up a scalpel. Then she spoke center. She said, voice cold as steel. Before we continue, let me make sure I understand your question correctly. She paused, let the silence crush the room. Are you really sitting there questioning my law degree when you couldn't even pass the bar? Examine yourself. Boom. The room exploded, gasp, shout, someone screamed, oh, SHT from the balcony. Phones flew up, Twitter broke, Tim Scott's smile vanish, his face fire engine red, his hands trembling. This wasn't a clapback. This was a public execution. But wait, it gets better before we dive into the bloodbath that followed. Smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next time a politician gets roasted alive on live TV. Now, let's break this down frame by brutal frame. Who is Tim Scott? Anyway, let's start with the man who just lit his career on fire. Tim Scott built his entire brand on being the reasonable black conservative. The guy who says personal responsibility 47 times per speech to senator, who cries on cue when talking about his mama, the one Republicans parade out whenever someone says systemic racism. He's got a bachelor's in political science, 0 law degree, 0 bar exam, 0 courtroom experience, 0 clue. But he got one thing, a smile that got him on Fox News every Sunday. He's the guy who says, I grew up poor, like it's a personality trait. The guy who blocked police reform but cries about unity. Guy who never argued a case but loves elector lawyers, and today he picked the wrong one. Enter Jasmine Crockett, the real deal. Now meet the woman who just ended him. Jasmine Crockett didn't stumble into Congress. She fought her way there. Born in St. Louis, raised by a single mom, worked 3 jobs to get through Bowie State, then law school at the University of Houston. She didn't just pass the bar, she passed on the first try for over a decade. She practices civil rights law, defended black voters, kicked off rolls, sued cities for closing polling places in black neighborhoods, stood in courtrooms while white judges tried to silence her. She's been elected to the Texas House. Then Congress. She doesn't just talk about justice, she wins it. And today, she brought receipts to hearing voting rights on trial. This wasn't just any hearing. Republicans were pushing a bill to shorten early voting, purge voter rolls, close polling places in black and brown areas. Democrats invited Jasmine Crockett as an expert witness. Why? Because she's not just a politician. She's a lawyer who's fought this fight. And court Republicans knew she was dangerous. So Tim Scott decided to humiliate her before she could speak. Big mistake to take down blow by blow. Let's go back to the exact moment Scott tried to recover. He set up force a smile, but his eyes panicked Representative Crockett. He said, voice cracking, I think you're deflecting from the real issue. Crockett cut him off like a guillotine. Am I deflecting, or am I pointing out that you started this by questioning my credentials when you have 0 standing to do so? She pulled out a folder. Open it slowly. Let the tension choke the room. Let's talk credential, Senator. I graduated law school. I passed the bar first try. I practices law for over 10 years. I've argued in state courts, federal courts, appellate courts. She looked up, eyes burning into Scott. What's your legal experience again? Senator Oak. That's right. You don't have, and he never went to law school. Never took the bar. Never represented a single client to gallery lost. It Democratic staffers grinning, Republican staffers Googling in panic. Ted Cruz whispering to Scott like a scared child. Scott tried again. Representative, I don't think an old senator, let me finish. Crockett's voice dropped to a deadly calm. You tried to humiliate me by saying I don't know the Constitution, but let me tell you what I know. She held up a document. This is the Voting Rights Act of 1965. I've litigated cases under this law. I defended black grandmothers who were turned away from polls. I've stood in courtrooms arguing constitutional law. While you were giving speeches at fundraisers, a room went silent, then erupted the final blow. Scott's face purple as pen snapped in half. This is highly irregular. He sputtered. What's irregular? Crockett fired back, a senator with no law degree, lecturing an actual attorney. You wouldn't last 5 minutes in a real courtroom. Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock leaned in, smirking. I think the representative has made her point, but Crockett wasn't done. Senator Scott asked if they taught me the Constitution. Yes, they taught me all 3 articles. They taught me the 14th Amendment, the 15th Amendment, how to read Supreme Court precedent, how to dismantle weak arguments. She paused, let it sink in, and most importantly, they taught me how to spot someone completely out of their depth. That's you, Senator, right now. The gallery exploded again. Applause. Actual applause in a Senate hearing. Twitter on fire. Jasmine Crockett won worldwide. And Tim Scott too. But for all the wrong reasons. A viral clip that broke the internet within minutes to clip a Crockett saying you couldn't even pass the bar exam yourself had 10 million views. Memes flooded the timeline. Scott's face on a KO boxer game over screen. When you bring a smile to a law fight, one tweet. When mega viral Tim Scott smiles in political science. Jasmine Crockett destroys with jurisprudence. Schoolmasters legal Twitter was brutal, showing this in trial advocacy next week. Law professor, this is how you eviscerate a bad faith attack. Harvard law grad, even conservative outlets couldn't spin it. Fox News ran the clip on loop. One host muttered he shouldn't have gone there. Crockett's testimony a masterclass. After burying Scott, Crockett delivered her actual testimony, and it was fire. This bill would get voting rights. It would disproportionately harm black and brown communities. I don't say this as a politician. I say this as an attorney who's seen it firsthand. She told real stories. A 73-year-old black woman turned away for a signature mismatch. Polling places closed in black neighborhoods with zero notice. Voter purges targeting Democrat-leaning zip codes. Every fact cited, every case real, every argument bulletproof. Scott tried one last time. Don't you think you're being dramatic? Crockett's eyes flashed dramatic. I represented a woman who voted since 1965, turned away in 2018 because of our frickick hands. That's not dramatic. That Bill Mike dropped the aftermath. Political carnage. Tim Scott bolted out a side door. Skipped the press of staff panic, spamming productive dialogue. Jasmine Crockett calmly packed her briefcase. Answer reporters with ice-cold precision donations. 2 million in 24 hours. Social media. Jasmine served bar exam burn. Tim who headlines the next day. CNN Jasmine Crockett eviscerates Tim Scott in viral takedown. Washington Post. When legal expertise met political heater, The Atlantic, the new generation of black women politicians unafraid unmatched the political fallout for Tim Scott presidential dreams. Dead donors ghosting Fox News invites. Can GOP colleagues crickets? One Republican strategist on background. He thought he'd get a soundbite. He got a funeral for Jasmine Crockett. National star overnight. DNC wants her on every panel. Senate run. AGVP short list March dropping. I passed the bar. He in the bigger picture. This wasn't just a clapback. This was expertise versus empty rhetoric, preparation versus personality. A black woman refusing to be diminished. Crockett didn't just when she changed the game. She showed legal training, beats, talking points, facts, beat feelings. You can't smile your way out of being wrong. Law professors are adding this to syllabic political scientist case. Study young black girls, new hero months. Later the voting rights bill stall.
Why?
Because every time a Republican brings it up, someone plays a Crockett clip. Tim Scott still hiding Jasmine Crockett headlining rallies. In America, we learned one thing: never come for a civil rights lawyer unless you're ready to get legally dragged. Final word count 60. 12. If you felt that burn, smash like and subscribe. Who's next on Jasmine's hit list? Drop your predictions below. This is political drama at its finest. Don't miss the next one.
Boom.
Don't forget to hit the notification bell to stay updated. Subscribe for more powerful video.